Liquid Lunch. So great to have you back.
I brought my liquid today.
Thank God. What do you got there? Let's talk about this.
Champagne in a can.
Oh, all right.
Champagne in a can with a straw, so it makes you feel like you're like healthy drinking juice.
All right. Okay.
But instead, it's just a little champs.
I like it. A little champy.
Nobody.
Well, now, as your kindergarten teacher, I'm sure said to you at one point or another, I hope you brought enough for everybody.
Yeah.
There's one in the back.
Can I have a cup, Patrice? Because I want to test out this champagne
I'm going my
in a
black
can.
purse over there
I don't
and
know
getting
about
the other one out of my black purse.
Champagne in a can.
It's got even a bendy straw too, which makes it even cuter. So.
But you are the champagne of guests in my book.
Thank you.
That's for sure.
And you're a noted attorney. You're a great commentator. You know all things politics and otherwise. But
You might say she's a real brute.
Brute.
She's a brute, of course.
Her humor can be quite dry.
Here, here's to you. Let's
Cheers,
toast
babe.
that. Okay, good. Let's see what we have here. Ooh. Very
Not
nice.
bad, right?
Tasty.
We'll give you a sip. I know you're drinking tea over there.
Yeah, I'm trying.
So
You guys
I
are
want to talk
wusses.
to you about a bunch of things, but I want to start with Mike Bloomberg's campaign,
Right.
which I think is strange to begin
Beyond.
with, being that he's not even tall enough to get on the adult rides in the amusement park.
Must go up,
He
yeah.
doesn't reach the clown's hand. And what will happen, you think, if he gets in the debates? Do they lower the podium for him, or do they have a little stool that
They're going to have a milk crate for him to stand
They
on.
do. Now, you're an attorney, so I want to
Yes.
get your point of view on this. He had a bunch of sexual harassment claims that he settled and locked up these ladies in NDAs. Now he won't let them out of those NDAs. Take a look at what he said, and I want to get your view on it.
Said that you should allow these women to speak out.
It's not up to me. We made legal agreements and we're going to enforce those. But that's not to say they can't speak out. I've encouraged women who work for us to go out and speak out about what.
Right? He said, it's not up to me. We made legal agreements, but they can speak out. Yeah, they can, with penalty of a hammer over there.
Then they lose the money. Here's the thing about the law, and I respect the law. These women signed legally binding contracts.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they don't get to get out of their contracts. That's not how this goes. We don't put the toothpaste back in the tube and you don't unring the gong, okay? These women sign contracts and they have to honor those contracts. And that to me is very black and white. I'm no fan of little Mikey.
Yeah.
But if he got people to sign contracts and there was adequate consideration, offer acceptance, consideration, then these contracts are legally binding. And that's just, he's 2 feet tall, so it's too bad.
Well, I see Donald Trump has turned to calling him Mini Mike. That's
Mini
his,
Mike. That's a
his
good
new
one.
thing, Mini Mike. I like
That's a
that.
good one.
But let me ask you this. When you're running for president, you want to be the president of the United States, they're always talking about Trump. We want his tax returns. We want all this other stuff. If he has nothing to hide, right, he can easily let them out of those NDAs, right? He could say, hey, go ahead, you can talk.
Yeah, he could.
He could.
He certainly could, but as his lawyer, I would tell him not to bother.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I mean, listen, he's worth $60 billion. He can throw money at a few problems and make them go away.
Yeah.
And that's how the world works, and that is part of capitalism, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right, I want to get to quick Gary Cohn. Can you stay for another segment?
I'll
with
be
us?
here.
Okay.
I mean, we have champagne.
We got the champagne.
Champagne will travel.
The economy, which no one in the media wants to talk about, is raging, okay? Lowest
Destroying.
unemployment, household income's up $5,000. All these great things.
Interest rates are at bay. We're not, like, inflation is
Easy
not on the
money,
radar.
easy money flowing. There's no inflation out there. Take a look at what Trump's former chief economist said, Gary Cohn.
Economy is strong and continues to be very strong. The U.S. consumer is very strong.
And I'm certainly not going to try to say I'm smarter than Gary Cohn, but
Right.
everything he said is accurate. And then all they can say on the news is, well, pointing the finger, well, he attacks the Fed chair.
Well,
That's the best they can get.
yeah,
Whenever,
it worked.
We're talking
You got
about
to loosen the rates a little more,
That's
so that
true.
worked.
Today's a very important day for African Americans. African American unemployment is at the lowest it's been in the history of the United States.
That's right.
That is a wonderful and beautiful thing, and that is directly attributed to our president, Donald Trump.
All right, Erin Elmore is going to stick with us. We're going to bring some of this stuff up with Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's going to join us in an hour or two. You stay right there. It's a special Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch. Take a quick break. Back after this. Monday, indeed, when we bring you the money guest. Erin Elmore joins us again for another segment. And usually, Erin, when newspapers endorse people, they endorse a single candidate. The New York Times did something strange. They endorsed 2 candidates, Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren. What is this about? They can't even choose a single woman?
It just shows, well, they can't choose anyone, let alone a single woman. It just shows that this endorsement is meaningless and useless because these two candidates have very little in common and their viewpoints are very different from each other. So the New York Times is effectively telling us we don't have one point of view. We don't stand behind one single thing. Our endorsement isn't worth the paper it's written on.
Isn't it almost disrespectful to the women? Because, you know, for decades and decades and centuries, they endorse a single man.
Right.
One guy.
One.
Why two women? They can't pick one. They say, well, we need two to have two horses in the race.
Because everyone loves a cat fight, right? It's kind of pathetic. And they also did something kind of funny. They called Elizabeth Warren, I believe the words were, in that article, a colorful storyteller. I would call that a pretty decent liar.
Yeah, a colorful storyteller.
Something like that. Might not be the exact verbiage, but
something like that.
A storyteller. That's right, honey. You're telling a lot of stories.
A lot of things so far, including
and honest wasn't one of them.
Yeah, she wasn't an honest Indian, was
she wasn't.
after all?
Yeah.
So these celebrities are driving me crazy. Really crazy. Okay. Robert De Niro used to be one of my favorites, right? He used to be like, to me, a legend. He played all these great roles and everything else. Now I can't stand him. I don't even want to watch a rerun of something that I used to love because I don't want to support anything about him.
It's not smart.
Somehow he thinks it's his place to jump into politics and start abusing the president. Here's what he just said about using his platform.
We're in such a dire situation, so deeply concerning to me and to so many others. I have to say something. And I thought I said it pretty well to Variety the other day, so I'm going to quote myself.
I'm speechless.
We're looking at each other
like wow. Why does he think it's his place? Who cares what the Raging Bull has to say about?
They say, as Laura Ingraham says, shut up and sing, shut up and act. You're not some great political mind of our generation to tell us how to think or feel or act. And he's being a bully. I think.
Most of these like celebrity endorsers, like Taylor Swift came out for Hillary Clinton, they never work.
Beyonce and Jay-Z came out for Hillary, and that didn't work at all, and they're pretty much the biggest in their industry. You know what's funny? There's a great meme online. I love how the left is not nearly as good at the meme game as the right is.
Yeah.
There was a picture of Robert De Niro on the set of The Irishman with these, like, platforms on his shoes that were literally like clown shoes this high, and they're like, yeah, you're the bigger man, dude.
Yeah, he's little.
If you're such a big man, then just stand up and be a big man. Why you have to put on lifts this high? I think he's a joke.
Yeah, I think he turned himself into a joke. He was probably one of the most legendary actors of all time, and I think he's really destroyed his fame with half of America.
And I agree. And someone from Philly who watched The Irishman, that accent is not right. That's all I have to say.
It was a weak accent. What about the fight scene? It looked like a WWE fight. He wasn't even making contact. He was like kicking the air.
No.
I think he hurt himself. We didn't hurt ourselves at all having Erin Elmore here. Thank you so much, my friend. You got to come back some more. Cheers to you. Cheers to you on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Sit right there. Brew yourself up a fresh, cold one. We're going to come back right after this with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Dr. Robbie Ludwig, Josh Kravitz, and others will be back. It's a Money Monday, and repeatedly, over and over again, my friends and family who know I'm on air, they call me during the show. It's crazy. But we're really lucky because Erin Elmore was supposed to be here for one segment. I asked her to stay for two. She stayed. I asked her to stay for three. She stayed again. We'll bring Frankie into this.
Don't press your luck, John. I mean,
three's a charm. They say.
Right.
I'm not going to go too hard, but thank you for hanging with us. Really appreciate it. What's happening, Frankie?
Well, I'm eager to get both of your take. I know you were just talking about Robert De Niro's acceptance speech for his Lifetime Achievement Award at the SAG Awards. But I forgot the SAG Awards were on yesterday. I love award shows. I would have watched it, but I was watching football instead. But everybody is talking about not something that happened on stage, not something that happened with the winning film Parasite, first foreign film ever to win this award, but everyone's talking about something that happened behind the scenes, and evidently Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston interacted with one another, and the internet has actually broken because of the reaction to this. This is the front page of the New York Post today. I mean, the world is abuzz, and I'm curious about your reaction about the ex-couple interacting.
I don't know. What happened to Brad Pitt's chin? Can we see that picture again? No. Can we see that again? Can we see that, Frankie?
Yeah, throw it up there if you would there.
Am I crazy?
Maybe
Or
he's
is
just
that-
making a face. He's
sticking it
just
out
making
like
a face,
that?
yeah.
All right, maybe.
But you know what? They look alike.
Yeah, they do kind of look
Right?
alike.
They kind of
there,
look alike.
Maybe they're secretly related, and that's why their marriage didn't work out, like Rudy Giuliani and his first wife.
Oh,
I didn't know
God.
about that.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
before my time.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Rudy married a cousin twice removed or something.
So that
is
means
not
like you're
true.
like a fourth or fifth cousin?
Something like that.
With
all
all
right.
these DNA tests, you shouldn't be doing that.
Exactly.
Moving
You're
on.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Okay. Now, this is a little bit of breaking news, which has broken within the course of the last 45 minutes. But the president's lawyers have filed a brief with the Senate, an impeachment brief. They're calling the impeachment charges, quote, an affront to the Constitution and our democratic institutions, close quote. And in an executive summary of the pretrial brief to the Senate, the president's legal team argued that the charge of obstruction of Congress was frivolous and dangerous. And the summary adds the Senate needs to speedily reject the articles of impeachment and acquit President Trump. So when things kick off tomorrow, we will see how this brief is received.
Erin, as an attorney, have you ever heard of anything in the criminal code called obstruction of Congress?
No, absolutely not. Moreover, Alan Dershowitz, someone who I had immense respect for, has already said that this isn't a sound charge, especially that the Supreme Court has just decided to hear 2 cases on this subject matter. If you're the president of the United States, you have certain authority that you don't have to, and you can sort of circumvent them in many ways. This is not a charge that's even related to anything with the Ukraine. What are they doing?
I'm confused.
Alan Dershowitz, he's going to be on the legal team, as we said Friday, talking about the constitutional grounds for impeachment. So he did the rounds of a lot of the Sunday shows talking about it. Adam Schiff was asked about Alan Dershowitz's response to the impeachment charges. This is what Adam Schiff said in response to Alan Dershowitz.
Logic of that absurdist position that's being now adopted by the president is he could give away the state of Alaska. He could withhold execution of sanctions on Russia for interfering in the last election to induce or coerce Russia to interfere in the next one. That would have appalled, the mere idea of this would have appalled the founders who were worried about exactly that kind of solicitation of foreign interference in an election for a personal benefit, the danger it poses to national security. That goes to the very heart of what the framers intended to be impeachable.
Can you believe the chairman of the Intelligence Committee has zero intelligence?
I was just going to say, is he a member of Mensa? I think not.
I don't know what's happening there, but
His neck gets smaller every time he's on air.
Did you see? Did you
like,
see
"Oh,
Trump?
hello."
Did you see Trump talking about his neck? He buys the smallest. He buys the smallest collar size, and he's still got a little pencil neck sticking out of it.
God, it's so sad.
Yeah, he's a strange guy. I mean, it seems like this whole thing is manufactured, and I don't know what the end game is when you know the Senate's just gonna.
I have used that line a couple of times. What's the play here? What's the long play here?
I don't know what it is. I mean, I heard Maxine Waters on the Sunday shows yesterday talking about that her committee, the Finance Committee, is still looking for records from Deutsche Bank, and if they have to, they'll start a new impeachment. Are they going to just keep trying to impeach him?
I mean, that's not going to bode well for the Democrats, especially Democrats in blue and purple states, because in Trump districts, sometimes, every once in a while, a Democrat does get through. One in my home state of Pennsylvania, Connor Lamb, over in Western PA, got through as a Democrat, but he voted on impeachment. Yes, in the House. He's done.
Right. A lot of these
So what is
freshmen.
the long play?
I don't know what it is. I think they really jeopardized this supposed blue wave when all these freshman Congress people came in. They're all there's 19 of them in districts that Trump won in the presidential. I think they're all in for a tough time.
Watch that one in Pennsylvania, because the guy that's running against him as a Republican is a very well-esteemed military gentleman who's written several books. This guy's out. That's one right there.
That's one. And I got one in Staten Island, one Max Rose, who was a military vet, and one saying he was going to be a moderate. He wasn't going to be Nancy Pelosi's tool. Wrote an editorial, an op-ed in our local paper where he said he was against impeachment. It'll divide us. And then Nancy Pelosi said, hey, if you want some DNCC money, you better vote for it. And he went down to Washington and voted for it. So Max Rose, he's in trouble, too. We're in big trouble now because Erin's going to be gone. But Kimberly Guilfoyle's going to be here, Joe Pignone and Josh Kravitz. Dr. Robbie Ludwig is going to be here and talk to you about all the great things that are happening out there in the world. And just stay right there for a Money Monday. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.